Dari nani kona mawa either. If she asks for money, never leave with the broad. And if he say he'll pay you next week, he's a fraud. East African girl, hella mean with the quad. One time, then I leave with the squad. She say she got the sauce, I got the mayo. The way I rock the city, Nairobi be like, ayo. Hey, we can chill in my car. You can listen to my new sheet. Now do you like it or not? Yeah. Can you with my bullshit? Hey. Wanna babaika? I feel it, I feel it, I do. Oh, the way I kill it, I do. And anything you want, yeah, I feel it, I do.
Kama kawaida, I kill it, I do. Oh, I kill it, I do. Kama kawaida, I kill it, I do.
911, we are murder.
Kama kawaida, I kill it, I do.
Oh yeah,
I kill it, I do. Kama kawaida, I kill it, I do. I kill it, I do.
That drama queen start, favorite part. Right around Nairobi, sitting pretty on the tracks. I'm thinking my new flag is greater than you can. Imagine venye tumewakilisha with my clan. Let's talk about it. I've been about it, dream about it. Worked so hard I became about it. Worked so hard they became about me. Ask about me, ask about me. What's surrounding? All the squad is who's around me. All the sauce is who's around me. Real, trill, live for the thrill. Lucky Luciano, baby, live for the kill. Deal. In something important, for something important. Kuhaso, Nick constant like
I kill it, I do. I kill it, I do. Kama kawaida, I kill it, I do. I kill it, I do. Kama kawaida, I kill it, I do. I kill it, I do. Kama kawaida, I kill it, I do. I kill it, I kill it, I do.
Every day is a brand new day. Every time that I see your face, you're my everything and anything that I would ever need in this world. I'm so glad that you came my way. I'm loving every minute we spend, babe. You're the reason to everything that I am today. I love the way you come around and touch me. The feeling that you give me drive me crazy. I love the way you look and call me baby. Girl, you mash up my world. I love the way you come around and touch me. The feeling that you give me drive me crazy. I love the way you look and call me baby. Girl, you mash up my You're my queen. I never, ever, ever, never let you go. You're my queen. I never, ever, ever, never let you go.
I'll never leave your side, baby, you know you're my world. You're everything I need, yeah. You make my days bright, brighter than the sun and the moon. You're all that I live for. You make my heart jump, you're the reason why it pumps. Girl, I come from, you're the one that I want. I can't go a day without my babe.
You're my queen. I never, ever, ever, never let you go. You're my queen. I never, ever, ever, never let you go. Yeah. I promise to never break your heart. Baby, don't let what we have fall apart. I promise to never leave your side. I'ma be a provider. provider, protector, my girl. Now that I need you and you need me, baby, let's treasure this love that we have. You're my queen. I'll never, ever, ever, never let you go. You're my queen. I'll never, ever, ever, never let you go. Yeah. You're my queen. I'll never, ever, ever, never let you go. You're my queen. I'll never, ever, ever, never let you go. Yeah.
Power Radio. Tune in and power up.
A very good morning to you. Welcome to the Power Morning Drive Show on this fantastic Monday morning, the 27th of May, the year is 2024. Habari yako. I hope your weekend was fantastic. My name is Wanyoike and I'm your host for today. This is Power Radio and, we are quite excited that you could join us and you can get in touch with us on our social media platforms. Let us know where you're tuning in from. We would love to hear from you and engage from you and also give you shout outs, yeah? Because wewe ni ule fan wetu ule mzi. So our social media platforms, that is TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Power Radio. That's our social media handle. Get in touch with us there. You can also catch the live broadcast on YouTube at Power Radio. That's our YouTube channel. And also on our website, www.power254.org/Power Radio. All right. Before we get into our news roundup of some national and international news, let's get into some music and then I will see you on the other side of the break with the day's news, both local and international. Keep it Power Radio.
Power Radio. Tune in and power up.
Think you can
what a hater say. Sipping on that haterade, I'm tipsy off that Tanqueray and Alizé, I'm hella paid. Pair of J's on me as I hit the stage, hella bait. Toast to the hard work, so every day we celebrate. I'm just a dream chaser trying to reach paper. A few years ago, we hadn't seen better, so I had to get up. Hustling never seemed better. I'm fed up, but it won't get the best of me, my nigga. I live a fast life, if you can see. Mula team holding down Africa from the east, please. We're trying to stack up all the G's, getting money overseas. Mikey Tony had a dream, Luther King, we believe.
And if I'm gonna make it worth it, then I gotta go hard. Got my city on my back, if you feel me, holla back. I do it for the 250. We hold it up,
hold me down, we holding it down.
We hold it up,
hold me down, we holding it.
We hold it up,
hold me down, we holding it down.
Hold it up,
hold me down, we holding it.
See, I gotta get that dough. Your money been the motive. Mama told me take it slow, boy. Keep your options open. Now we be all up inside your TV. With a couple more beanies while we treat them haters like Stevie Wonder. Why these niggas bother anymore? Tell your tripper, shopper man. Karungari better know that we swaggy. Nigga out your swaggy. Tucci's rolling doobies with some beanies in the backseat. But I don't trust these bitches. I don't trust these bitches. I don't trust these bitches, cause they might catch me slipping. But you already know, Camula, that's that 2-5 flow. Yeah, now we town. We
holding it.
And if I'm gonna make it worth it, then I gotta go hard. Got my city on my back, if you feel me, holla back. I do it for the 250. We hold it up,
hold me down, we holding it down.
Hold it up,
hold me down, we holding it.
we hold it up.
for this moment since I was 12 now. Rock a snapback, fuck a fitted, let your brain smile. And we just glad you finally listened cause you chose style. 5 mighty kids been on a mission while they talk slang. You spit, I vomit, have you on it, dog, I breathe rhymes. No Superman, just rapaholic, see my team shines. So now I'm sipping gin and tonic, we don't squeeze limes. This life's been bitter for a nigga, but I'm still fine. Ha-ah, ha-ah, hey. I hope you learn the basics. Boy, them A to Z's, your 1 to 3s ain't talking about the Matrix. Thanks to KFC, oh yes indeed, I've graduated to MC. Living my dreams, glory to G.O.D.
And if I'm gonna make it worth it, then I gotta go hard. Got my city on my back. If you feel me, holla back. I do it for the 2-5 below. We hold it down.
Hold me down, you know we holding it down.
Hold it down.
Hold me down, you know we holding it.
Hold it down.
Hold me down, you know we holding it down.
Hold it down.
Hold me down, you know we holding it.
Kukucheki anipenda nimemwacha nyumbani hajui baby wanichanganya zingua maliza mimi sijiwezi ni makosa baby forbidden fruit so sweet naenda mimi sitabaki twajiweka shimoni. This is where we end, yeah, 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 yeah. 'Cause you're taboo. Oh, yeah. Wewe ni taboo, 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 taboo. Wewe ni taboo, taboo. 'Cause you're taboo. Oh, yeah. Wewe ni taboo, 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 taboo. Wewe ni taboo, taboo. Acha kunishika mkono hivo, ninahisi mengi ila ninajua kuna kikomo. Si upendo ni mchezo, uongo si tumeamini. Najaribu kumpenda niliye naye, go on and let me be. Naenda mimi sitabaki, twajiweka shimoni. This is where we end, yeah, 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 yeah. 'Cause you're taboo. Oh, yeah. Wewe ni taboo, 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 taboo. Wewe ni taboo, taboo. 'Cause you're taboo.
Alrighty.
Me, I keep it fresh, fresh on, fresh on. Me, I keep it fresh, keep it me, I keep it fresh, keep it me, I keep it fresh all day, all day, all day. Fresh, fresh all day, fresh, fresh all day, it's all cool. Fresh, fresh all day.
Think you can handle Count Moolah.
I come correct, and yeah, my swag so official like I'm the ref. See, I be rocking Louis, so shorties wanna do me. Have all these haters feeling so underdressed. I see you mucking me, but I ain't mucking back. Cause I ain't got time for your chitty chat. Why you tryna copy and paste me? I'll be with your broad like butter on pastry. She's on my arm like my Virgin Mary. And we be on that weed from early. OG, smoking by the OZ. And all she wanna see is a couple emojis. Well, I got money to blow. And shorty, I ain't tripping, so you already know. Can't moolah all day. If you want it, gon' pay. Hater, I'm just letting you know that
All I know is swagger.
Me, I keep it fresh all day, it's all cool. Me, I keep it fresh all day, it's all cool.
Put your hands up if you have some.
Cause you keep it fresh all day, it's all cool. Cause you keep it fresh all day, it's all cool.
Okay, my life is not the same, and I know who to blame. If I remember the name, it sounded something like fame. For the money, for the game, I would kill it.
No shame.
Rep a crew that's untamed, and I'm a dude that's maintained. Swagger so right as Frank. 20 big Benjamin sitting in the bank. What you think? I've been working hard, numbers agree. So please believe me, this is easy, born to be an MC. So I took one Nairobi, the swagger strong only. 24 hours round the clock, Wani. The Levi store know me. Big up Ryo and Fuzzy. Now I'm fresh all day, Nikki Chapakazi. Boys be looking at P, this ever slappy. Lucy, Kibaki, LOL. Yeah, I'm only messing, I'm just digging the jam. Bumping it with my fam. Chuck Taylor's helping me stand. Let go.
All I know is swagger.
Me, I keep it fresh all day, it's all cool. Me, I keep it fresh all day, it's all cool.
Put your hands up if you have some.
Cause you keep it fresh all day, it's all cool. Cause you keep it fresh all day, it's all cool.
I said we on to be their favorite. Moolah team pacing. Further than the basement, higher than the spaceships. NASA couldn't race this, rockets couldn't chase this. Swagger on vintage, African Fresh Prince. Flying like the Jetsons, higher than the Jeffersons. Moving on up till they can't get enough of us. Now we at the top, better use your binoculars. Swagger non-stop is what you do if you have some. And I'm just getting started. Ever seen a Kenyan boy trying to go harder? You gotta work for your profit, cause everybody's trying to get paid in Nairobi. I think your swagger need coaching. Fresh all day, it's all cool by the ocean. Swagging down in South Coast, you could say we coasting. High grade glowing, super flowing. Damn.
All I know is swagger.
Me, I keep it fresh all day, it's all cool. Me, I keep it fresh all day, it's all cool.
Put your hands up if you have some.
Cause you keep it fresh all day, it's all cool. Cause you keep it fresh all day, it's all cool. Fresh all day, 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 it's all cool. Fresh all day, fresh all day, it's all cool. Fresh all day, fresh all day, it's all cool.
Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Power Radio.
We ain't lying when we say that we are fresh all day. That is Fresh All Day by Moolah Team. Kamula, I keep insisting. We have never seen quite a great band together since Kamula, and I say that they need to come back. It's playing right here on the channel that is always fresh all day, Power Radio. This is the Power Morning Drive Show, and I am your host, Anne Wanyoike. Now, let's get into some news for today. And fresh off the bat, I just want to talk about the Mogoka ban that has happened recently in Mombasa. Now, Embu farmers fight ban of Mogoka in Mombasa. This is according to the Daily Nation. You will find a good story on page 3. Now, farmers in Embu have vowed to fight the ban on Muguka. Muguka, for those who do not know, Muguka is cat. The English name is cat. It's a drug. Business in Mombasa and Kilifi amid calls by leaders in Coast for other counties in the region to follow suit. On Saturday, Embu Deputy Governor Kinyua Mugo and Women Representative Njo Kinjeru led local residents in a demonstration in Embu town, causing a major traffic snarl up. Now, they criticized Mombasa Governor Abdul Swamad Nasir over the decision, saying they were not consulted to give their views before the ban was imposed. And he later on, Ms. Njeru later on goes to say that it is unfair for Mombasa to ban the sale of muguka, which is a cash crop that locals depend on for survival. Growing and selling of muguka is a legal business, and the position taken in Mombasa is illegal. Now, it's interesting because today we shall be talking about mental health and where mental health stands, because according to research, it shows that scientific research actually shows that muguka consumption causes mental health issues, and that's and disability as well. And so it would be interesting to hear what our mental health expert, who is already in the studio, has to say about this. And moving on swiftly to the next, the next story. Mount Kenya politics are back, and Gachagua, the deputy president, Mr. Gachagua, is under fire. Now, according to the Daily Nation, the nascent political marriage between President William Ruto and his deputy Rigathi Gachagua is facing a litmus test as the Cold War between the two Kenya Kwanza Alliance honchos rages. Wow, honchos is quite the word there. So with only political leaders aligned to the two bosses having been engaged in flexing of political muscles for a while, the deputy president on Saturday took the battle right to the doorsteps of his boss, accusing allies of the president of trying to divide his political backyard, the Mount Kenya region. Now, something else that he said is that the problem is a few leaders from this region who have proximity to the president are trying to meddle with Mount Kenya politics. I mean, this is not the first time that Mount Kenyan politics have seen the kind of, I would say destabilization that is being witnessed there. So let's see how that goes. But then again, it's another day in Kenyan politics. We never get over this. It's a game of politics. It's a game of politics, and that's just how politics play out. Another story here is, of course, we all know that, maybe we don't all know, but the president, I beg your pardon, was on his US tour. And he's back now. And of course, there has been a lot of backlash. Because of what Kenyans are terming as use of resources not in the right way. And so Ruto says that using private jet to the US was the prudent choice. Amejitetea akasema that, I have noted concerns about my mode of transport to the USA as a responsible steward of public resources and in keeping with my determination for us to live within our means, and that I should lead from the front. In so doing, the cost was less than traveling on KQ. So that's the president jiteteaing there, saying that, by the way, 98 million was the cost of the president's one-way trip to the US for a state visit, which he used the Boeing 737-700 business jet operated by Royal Jet of Dubai. And then 2.4 million shillings is the hourly charges for the plane Dr. Ruto used for his US trip. A visit to Royal Jet website shows that the group's Boeing business jets is the leading VIP airliner on the market available for charter. Then government spokesperson Isaac Mwaura last week defended the president's expensive trip and urged Kenyans to look at the benefits rather than the cost. He later on goes to say that the president's let us not even talk about it. The president has been able to secure close to 1 trillion shillings in benefits. I mean, this, of course, one of the things that came out of this US tour is the US government agreed to give Kenya a good amount of money to fight, corruption. And so while I still agree to a certain extent that 98 million one way, that's a little bit too extra. I also would see why it's not that big of a deal. But then again, we have to ensure that public resources are not going into waste. They are not you can facilitate you can facilitate a trip without necessarily being over the top or extravagant, and especially not right now when the country is really going through its own fair share of drama, especially when it comes to the economy. And so, yeah, we leave it at that. So that's our news roundup. When we come back, today we are talking about mental health. The month of May is Mental Health Awareness Month. And we want to find out some of the gains, some of the pains that government, societies, and people have to go through in ensuring that we are fostering mental health awareness, and not only just mental health awareness, but where do we stand? What is the status of mental health in Kenya? What is the status of mental health services, for example, in Kenya? Are people aware of even where to go to get this kind of services as well? So you want to stick around for that. This is Power Radio on the Power Morning Drive Show. Now, if you want to ask any questions regarding the topic of discussion for today, you can do so on our social media platforms and across TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Power Radio. That's our handle. You can also get us on our YouTube channel. That is at Power Radio. You can comment, watch, subscribe to our YouTube channel. It really would go far to, amplify these conversations that we need to mainstream. You can also find us on our website at www.power254.org/Power Radio. Let's get into some music, and when we come back, our discussion for today begins. Keep it right here on Power Radio.
Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Power Radio.
Yeah, naitwa Kolo. My name is Kolo. Yeah, naitwa Kolo. STL Mimo, let's go.
Na wewe, kani picha piga pose na wewe, mtaani wako ita boss na wewe. Do you right? Floss na wewe, kani picha piga pose na wewe, mtaani wako ita boss na wewe. I will always do you right.
Welcome to the most extravagant and elegant night of your life. I'll be your usher, yeah, you like it my way, cause I'm right. I'll never do you wrong, and even though I might accept my apology in advance without a fight. Okay, magaga na upo asha odaka skuma, so hii wiki si tuko sawa, ugali na pia nyumba, mziki pia ni bumba, talanta aina dumba, sakata rumba na kaina bamba, kidole cha gomba, wacha ni cross na wewe dos na wewe, niringe kata usi na ni floss na wewe. Usijali mini performer na nina mic moja, ngoja uone vile nina show na wewe.
Floss na wewe, kani picha piga pose na wewe, mtaani wako ita boss na wewe. I will always do you right.
Hey. I don't know if you feel the same way that I do, cause I feel like my heart is pumping harder around you. So tell me, is it me you wanna be with? Please don't leave me hanging now. Oh my baby, come and meet me downtown, cause I'm done. Gotta make my number one. I don't want no other one. Up all night we see the sun, but I beat the beat goes on. Can't get over you, love you long time, yeah, dabadu. Kwangu wesi bronze, wala silver, labda dhahabu.
Floss na wewe, kani picha piga pose na wewe, mtaani wako ita boss na wewe. I will always do you right. Early morning when I wake up, it's only you I seem to think about. You're my sunshine I'm longing for. Floss na wewe, kani picha piga pose na wewe, mtaani wako ita boss na wewe. I will always do you right. Floss na wewe, kani picha piga pose na wewe, mtaani wako ita boss na wewe. I will always do you right.
A shooby dooby dabba doo. Be my baby.
Floss na wewe,
A shooby dooby dabba
piga
doo.
pose na wewe, mtaani wako ita boss na wewe. I will always do you right. Na wewe, floss, floss, na
My
wewe.
name is Kolo, it's Kolo, it's Kolo.
Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Power Radio.
This is for the lovers in the house. Tafuta penzi lako, mshike kwa mikono, mwangalie ndani ya macho, mpeleke kando na umwambie, commit a crime and I'll be your defender. Overpower me so that I surrender. I wish I could be your saliva, so that I could taste your lips whenever. I envy your hipster, vile inakushika kwa kwa kweli manzi umebarikiwa, ndio maana tunaimba hallelujah. I wish I could be your shoe, I would have such a beautiful view. And if I was the slit on your dress, my goal in life would be to aim for the highest. If only I could be your body lotion, I would walk with undivided devotion. Kila siku nakufikiria, ndio maana nasinzia nikikuwaza, nasinzia nikikuwaza, miaka rudi miaka nenda, nasinzia nikikuwaza, nasinzia nikikuwaza, nasinzia nikikuwaza, kila siku ya kalenda, nasinzia nikikuwaza. Chochote utafanya nitafuata, nitachora 8 ukichora 7. And I promise I will never be a player. You're my red card, no longer middle fielder. Be my wife and I'll be your bogey bender. And let no man try to lay asunder. Na wakijaribu kutulay asanda, Mungu moja nitawapiga ngeta. Na kama ungekuwa ngoma, ningependa kukuwa amplifier. I will amplify and equalizer, paka hata matiuta sitachuna. Nasinzia nikikuwaza, nasinzia nikikuwaza, miaka rudi miaka nenda, nasinzia nikikuwaza, nasinzia nikikuwaza, nasinzia nikikuwaza, kila siku ya kalenda, nasinzia nikikuwaza. This comes from the deepest part of my heart, the deepest part
part of my heart. This comes from the empty hole in my soul. The empty hole in my soul. This comes from the highest point of my spirit. If you know what I'm saying, then you will feel it. Feel it. This comes from the deepest part of my heart. The deepest part of my heart. This comes from the empty hole in my soul. The empty hole in my soul. This comes from the highest point of my spirit. If you know what I'm saying, then you will feel it. Feel it. Nasinzia nikikuwaza. Nasinzia nikikuwaza. Miaka rudi miaka nenda. Nasinzia nikikuwaza. Nasinzia nikikuwaza. Nasinzia nikikuwaza. Kila siku ya kalenda. Nasinzia nikikuwaza. Nasinzia nikikuwaza. Nasinzia nikikuwaza. Miaka rudi miaka nenda. Nasinzia nikikuwaza. Nasinzia nikikuwaza. Nasinzia nikikuwaza. Kila siku ya kalenda. Nasinzia nikikuwaza.
Power Radio. Tune in and power up.
Sincere by Nameless, and it's playing right here on Power Radio on this beautiful morning, Monday morning. This is the last Monday of the month. Ooh, wow. Anyway, I guess time really, yeah, it is. It actually is the last Monday of the month of May, which also happens to be mental health awareness month. My name is Wanyoike, and I'm your host for today. And for those that are joining us on YouTube, you can see that I'm not alone in studio. If you're not on YouTube, please come and up at Power Radio YouTube channel ndio uweze kutuona sisi ambao tunakuongelesha. Yes, so we want to get into the discussion of today. This is the Power Morning Drive Show, and so as I was saying, that May marks mental health awareness month, and so we didn't want this month to pass by without us, discussing about this very pertinent issue of mental health, and to help us unpack what the state of mental health in Kenya and what we can do to be able to foster mental health in Kenya. I am joined by one and only Mr. Ian Gitaka from Mental 360. Good morning, Mr. Ian.
Good morning.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good.
Karibu sana Power Radio.
Asante sana.
Unafilaje? How was your weekend?
My weekend was good, restful.
Yeah, unashukuru.
Yeah.
Sawa sawa. All right, again, you can get in touch with us on our YouTube channel. Yes, watch us on YouTube, that is at Power Radio, and also on our website, that is www.power254.org/Power Radio. And also you can comment, like, share on our social media platforms. Find us on TikTok, on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook at Power Radio. Those are our social media handles. I want to give a shout out here. Took Diaries show. Metusema ako locked on YouTube. So thank you so much for being locked in. Na kama uko na maswali kuhusu mental health, you want to find out how can you access mental health services, please let us know, and we will be sure to let you in. We will be sure to let you in on that information. So let's talk to Mr. Ian now. Mr. Ian, you are a counseling psychologist, and you also work a lot, in the mental health space. But before that, maybe you can just briefly introduce yourself and let the people know what you are about. What is counseling psychology about? Why did you even decide to go into that space, so that we can talk now a little bit about the state of mental health and how we can foster mental health in Kenya?
Okay. So as you've heard, my name is Ian Gitaka. I'm a counseling psychologist, or some people say therapist. Can use them interchangeably. Counseling is mainly about helping people work through some of the mental health challenges or or even just self-awareness, self-improvement, anything to do with the mind. That is the work I do. And the thing that made me pick counseling as a course was mostly the curiosity. I used to watch a lot of shows where they'd have a behaviorist or a psychologist on the show. And so just that curiosity of trying to know, how does the mind work?
Yes.
Why do people do the things they do? And also just curiosity about the different mental illnesses and disorders. So that's how I ended up picking counseling. And then it eventually morphed into wanting to help all these people. Yeah.
Wow. And you're here from Mental 360.
Yes, Mental 360.
Yes. So kindly tell the people, what is Mental 360 and what does your organization do?
Mental 360 is an organization whose core work is counseling, affordable counseling to anyone and everyone. We are youth-based and youth-led. So our programs tend to target the youth, but counseling is open to anyone and everyone. So we have some community programs. We have a Nakujali project in Kiambu. You may have seen it or heard of it. We also have the Kibera Rafikis and our Kibera Community Wellness Center. It's also active. So these are, the Nakujali project is mainly a suicide prevention project in Kiambu because it was a county with the highest suicide cases at the time of the start of the project. And the Kibera Community Wellness Center mainly serves to reach people in Kibera who either don't have access to mental health care or may not be able to afford it. So they get their services for free. So it's counseling to the public, but also try to reach people in the community, people who either we may not come into contact with at the office or, Langata, Kiambu, Nimbali Kidogo. So just trying to reach out to as many people as we can.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome. And so for somebody who maybe might be listening to this and they don't even know just even the basics of what is this mental health? What is mental health? What is this idea of mental health?
Mental health, in the simplest way I could put it is it's just a general state of well-being. So it's just the same way you have physical health. You can be healthy, you can be unhealthy, and it's like a spectrum. Or if you can think of it as a number line, we go from having good mental health to bad mental health days. And generally, the longer you have, maybe you feel like your mental health is getting worse, the longer that lasts, then that's when it becomes a warning sign to seek help. But everyone experiences a bad day or two. So mental health is something we all experience. Sometimes when people hear mental health, they imagine mental illness or I am mentally sick. But that's just one side of the spectrum. Mental health covers everything and everyone. Yeah.
And so you work in, fostering, either it's through creating awareness, for mental health issues in Kenya. I would love to know from where you sit, what is the status of mental health in Kenya? Like, how are we doing in terms of how aware is the public about mental health issues? How aware is the public in terms of how to get help, where to get help, like such dynamics?
Right now, I'd say it's improving. People talking about mental health more. Mental health awareness has been on the increase over the past few years. If I can compare it to maybe when I was in university, it wasn't as talked about, but now it's something we'll hear mentioned publicly. I remember the first time I heard Uhuru mention mental health and depression on TV is when I knew mental health is now something that people will start talking about. And even as you interact with people every day, people are starting to get curious to understand what is this mental health, what is mental health awareness. So I'd say it's on the rise, and I think that's a good thing. But on the side of delivering those services to the people, I feel there's still a lot more work to do. The burden is high, and we're also, let's say, understaffed in a sense, just Kenya in general. So counties that are like outside the major ones, like Nairobi, you'll find there's either too few counselors and psychiatrists to serve everyone. So they either have to end up overtaxing themselves and burning out just to help everyone, or offering services that are not at par. And it's not because they don't want to or they can't, but it's because they have to do a balancing act. If I help everyone, I'll burn out. If I don't help everyone, then not everyone will get the help that they need. So there's still a lot more work to be done in terms of getting more people in the field, getting more facilities, more places where anyone can go to. Although it's not all doom and gloom because they are also on the rise. It's something that is slowly being worked on.
Yes.
Yeah.
But of course, as you've said, it's not as satisfactory. We could be doing better. When it comes to mental health and through a gender lens, I've been hearing a lot of talk about, mental health among men is, it's plummeting, it's not doing well. A lot of suicidal cases are happening within men because men do not talk, their problems. So as a counseling psychologist, are men, is it actually true, or because it could be just conversations out here in the clouds, but what has been your experience when it comes to men's mental health, and why do you think men shy away from accepting that there's a mental health issue or gap or problem there? Yes, and how can we help them?
I think it's something that's a bit multifaceted. So even when you're looking at gender differences, women have better health-seeking behaviors. So a man and a woman, if a man has a headache, they're more likely to either tough it out or
mwanaume ni kujikaza.
kizidi sana, maybe a painkiller or like drink water or go work out, maybe it'll go. So our health-seeking behaviors are different.
Yeah.
And also statistically, men end up dying by suicide more because they tend to choose more lethal means, while women have higher attempts. So the higher attempts is because the first few attempts might be less lethal.
Yes.
And I think it's also a bit of how we are socialized. So if you grow up and you're not used to being told, when you have a problem, you can talk to someone. If you're feeling unwell, go to a hospital. You'll grow up feeling like a lot of these things, or I can deal with a lot of this alone.
Yes.
So I think that partly has an effect because you'll find it is less rare for men to go for therapy.
Yeah.
Maybe because they feel like this is not really something worth talking about, or we tend to put, how would I even put it? Like a different perspective on certain problems. These are not problems you go to therapy for.
Yeah.
These are problems you go play sports, go talk to your friends in the bar. Maybe you'll get advice then. But if it's a therapist, they feel like it would have to be really, really serious.
Yeah.
But in as much as this is a generalization, we're also seeing more men slowly actually embrace therapy.
Yeah.
So I feel like the efforts being put by the mental health field are slowly starting to bear fruit, because even if you were to just talk to random men in the streets, you'll find it's not all of them who would not go to therapy. Maybe some would have different reasons, and I think that's also another good reason to raise more awareness, to let people know therapy is for anyone and everyone. If you feel like you want to talk to a therapist, that is enough reason.
Yes.
To
go.
talk to her.
Yeah. Well, to piggyback back on what you've just said, that men only go when the issue is serious. So, what is the serious issue that can lead to somebody going now and seeking for professional help? Like, what are some of the issues that drive people towards mental health services or therapy or psychosocial support?
For people in general, or
Yeah.
just the...
Yeah, people in general. You can talk about people in general. Yes, let's talk about people in general first.
Okay. Generally, the cases we handle tend to deal with either addiction, relationships, family.
Romantic relationships?
Romantic relationships, more often romantic relationships, but we also have people either struggling in their friendships, and then the rest are either to do with self-awareness, self-discovery, or suspicion of maybe a mental illness or a mental disorder, and they're just trying to find clarity, trying to maybe get a diagnosis. Because sometimes you can tell if you have certain symptoms, but then you just want to be sure, or you want to be sure, and you want to know what is it I can do if I am diagnosed with a certain mental illness. Yeah.
So that we can actually dissect this issue intricately. So I have romantic issues, and which some of these romantic issues range from, is it cheating, is it gender-based violence within relationships? Like, what are some of the issues that you've dealt with? I know you are sworn to secrecy. This is because code of conduct and ethics, confidentiality. But for the sake of this conversation, what are some of the issues? For example, let's zero into the romantic relationship side. Yes. So when somebody comes with romantic relationship issues, what are some of the issues that they bring to the table?
Mostly either cheating or conflict, or maybe having like that breakdown of communication that leads to arguing. We also do experience like gender-based violence in relationships.
Yeah.
So all those would fall under some of the things a client would come needing help with. Sometimes the client might come on their own, or they might come as a couple. So depending on the issue that they're dealing with.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so when they come in to like see you as a counseling psychologist, what then are the steps that you take them from point A to Z that so they've come, you've seen them, what follows after that until now they are well?
For the most part,
Yeah.
we normally start with an intake process, just trying to understand this person, their demographic information, some of the issues they've experienced, where they're coming from, also trying to understand their family dynamic, any other issues, whether mental health or physical health related, that might contribute. And then now you try to understand what is the presenting problem, or the problem they initially bring up first. So you mostly dissect that. Sometimes that will lead to bringing up other issues that maybe they weren't aware of, or sometimes you're aware but you've buried it, or you're aware and maybe it's on your like number 5 out of, you've brought up issue 1, 2, but you didn't know about 3, 4, 5. And for the most part, with couples, you're trying to help them learn new ways of either resolving conflict, how to improve their communication, how they can both understand each other better, so that when a conflict comes up, they know how to either communicate or how to handle their partner. So it's mostly just, it's like you're trying to bring them closer together through communication and just understanding each other. Because as anyone in a relationship can tell you, sometimes your mood might affect how you receive certain communication. Sometimes you don't know, your past experiences might be contributing. So understanding yourself more, understanding each other more, and then finally learning how to communicate with each other better.
Yes.
Because conflicts, disagreements in relationships, whether romantic, platonic, they'll always happen. Even business
relationships
have conflict. So if the conflict is unavoidable, then it's better to learn, how do we actually deal with conflict? How do we resolve? How do we choose? Is this something we will argue about? Is this something that is irreconcilable? Or is this something I can overlook? This all now depends on the person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And something that also is interesting to me is how do we navigate children's mental health? Because I think we tend to forget that even them, they are people and they have feelings and emotions and they deserve to express. So how does somebody, maybe a parent is listening to this, or somebody who is a guardian, how do you navigate mental health for children? Yeah.
For children, it depends on their age. For like the really young ones, like let's say 0 to 5, or maybe around 7 years old. If they can talk, they'll be able to communicate with you. But a lot of the time, you're trying to look at their behavior. If they wakitoka shule, you can ask them, how was school? What did you do today?
Yes.
Kids are very honest. They'll just tell you, I did this. This person told me these bad things. I didn't like this. I liked school. So that openness, encourage that openness in your children and let them feel safe. So if they say something that would have maybe gotten them punished, at least let them express it first so that they'll always have that openness with you. And then now after that is when you can choose how to maybe punish something or certain behavior. But they should feel safe and open to always talk to you, because for a child, the most important person to that child is the parent. So they should also be the safest person to them, the person who is able to protect them from everything else that's happening outside. So just encourage and foster that safety and openness in your child.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, guys, you've heard, this is the Power Morning Drive Show. We are talking about navigating or rather fostering mental health awareness. And we've talked about men's mental health. We've talked about children's mental health. We want to take a short musical break. When we come back, we are talking about the buzzword that I'm sure every person who speaks TikTok or whatever the Gen Zs are speaking about nowadays have either come across. There's a lot of speak about, oh my God, trauma. Oh my God, trauma this. Oh my God, trauma that. Are we doing a disservice to what actually trauma is? Do we even know the meaning of trauma? What are the complexities of trauma? How do we understand and navigate trauma responses? So when we come back, we get into that jazz. For now, let's get some music. We will be right back. This is Power Radio.
Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Power Radio.
El Shaddai, El Shaddai, El Shaddai. Uko na kile minadai, ulinipenda hata kama misifai. El Shaddai, El Shaddai, El Shaddai.
He's an awesome God. Amenipa such an awesome song. And I'm never lonely. Amenipa such an awesome love. He is an awesome God, and I wanna tell it to the world. Ili wajue ni wewe, kama si wewe basi nani? Nasikia landlord ako kwa njia anataka kodi, ni wewe uta provide. Na nina ngori moyoni zinanijaza wori, ila nitakuwa fine.
El Shaddai, uko na kile minadai, ulinipenda hata kama misifai. El Shaddai, El Shaddai, El Shaddai. Uko na kile minadai, ulinipenda hata kama misifai. El Shaddai, El Shaddai, El Shaddai.
And every day is an awesome day. Na vile unanibariki hata mimi sielewi. And every day you come through in an awesome way. Kwenye dhiki nimepata rafiki wa kweli. Na kuna kaloni mahali kananijaza wori, ni wewe uta provide. Nina mahari natamani kulipia mpenzi, sote tutakuwa fine. Na madaktari wanasema hali siyo hali, wewe unajua time. Nahisi nguvu zako kwangu, I will call you El Shaddai.
El Shaddai,
El Shaddai.
minadai, ulinipenda hata kama misifai.
Hata kama mimi sifai.
El Shaddai, El Shaddai, El Shaddai. Uko na kile minadai, ulinipenda hata kama misifai. El Shaddai, El Shaddai, El Shaddai. Uko na kile minadai, ulinipenda hata kama misifai. El Shaddai, El Shaddai, El Shaddai. Uko na kile minadai, ulinipenda hata kama misifai. El Shaddai, El Shaddai,
Dear Lord, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I know I can, and the wisdom to know the difference.
El Shaddai, uko na kile minadai, ulinipenda hata kama misifai. El Shaddai, El Shaddai, El Shaddai, uko na kile minadai, ulinipenda hata kama misifai. El Shaddai, El Shaddai, El Shaddai, uko na kile minadai, ulinipenda hata kama misifai. El Shaddai, El Shaddai, El Shaddai, uko na kile minadai, ulinipenda hata kama misifai. El Shaddai, El Shaddai, El Shaddai.
Power Radio. Tune in and power up.
El Shaddai by Heart the Band, and it's playing right here on Power Radio. This is the Power Morning Drive Show. My name is Anne Wanyoike. I want to give a little shout out to some people who are listening in. We have Treasure Stores. They're saying great lessons right there. We also have Took Diaries. They are asking us to kindly expound on the addiction issue. Thank you so much for tuning in. Ambia watu, tell a friend, to tell a friend, to tell a friend, to tell an enemy. Because even them, they need to know. Yeah, why not? Why not? Yeah. Yes. So we are still continuing with our discussion of today. Again, as I said, May marks Mental Health Awareness Month, and in tribute of that, we are joined in studio by Mr. Ian Gitaka, as counseling psychologist from Mental 360, and we've been talking about how do we foster mental health, not only just awareness, but mental health as a whole conversation, 360 degrees approach right there. So yes, Mr. Gitaka, let's do this for the fans. Let's do this for Took Diaries. Yeah, they want to know, kindly expound on how addiction can lead somebody to seek for therapy and psychosocial support.
Okay. So addiction is described as a pattern of behavior where someone keeps doing or taking something that is harmful to them, but they are unable to stop despite it having negative effects on them. So by the time you're getting addicted, this means even despite the negative effects of, let's say, alcohol, you drink, you get the hangovers, or the random injuries you get when you're drunk, but you're unable to stop. It's that inability to stop that is the first sign to let you know that you're addicted. So people get into addiction normally out of, a lot of the time it's a way to cope. So when you start out with like substance use, most people start out of curiosity or peer pressure. Peer pressure is not just for teenagers, even adults experience peer pressure. So if you're in an environment where alcohol is being taken, I'll just use alcohol as an example.
Yeah.
Alcohol is being taken, then you're more likely to take because since I'm here, this is what people are doing. I will do that as well. And it starts out of curiosity, and then at that point, you're able to stay without it, but if it's available, you take. And then so slowly you start getting cravings. So unasema, nimekawia, let me go out, let me drink. And then after that point of cravings, you start taking it now to either cope with something. So it moves from nimekawia, let me go out, to I've had a long week, I am stressed, leo, so in some meniongelesha vibaya, hivyo. And now, it's like it now becomes, when X happens, I take my substance of choice. So when this happens, I take that. So eventually now that forms, it's like it forms a link in your mind. Every time you're stressed, take alcohol. Every time you're stressed, smoke.
Yes.
So now, after that is when now you become addicted, because essentially you're using it as a band-aid or a way to cope with something you weren't able to cope with before.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow, I hope took diaries that answers your question. Yes, and keep them coming, keep them coming, keep them coming. Now, I want us to talk a little bit about cultural barriers, and some of the cultural barriers that I know are rife and rampant in our society is stigma. There's a lot of stigma when it comes to mental health issues, whether you're talking about depression, whether it's grief, whether it's mental health disorders, whether it's mental illnesses, a lot of stigma. So, why do you think there's a lot of stigma around mental health issues, and how can we destigmatize?
Some of the stigmas, I'd break them down into either not knowing or not understanding how mental illnesses work or how mental health works. And the others are like the perception we have of mental health. So sometimes mental health care is seen as something for rich people, let's say rich in quotes, for rich people, or you'll hear people say mental health ni ya wazungu. You may have heard someone say wazungu wako na anxiety lakini wako na wasiwasi wako na anxiety. So there's a lot of stigma. It's seen as something that only posh people go for,
through,
but
yes.
the rest of us, we don't need therapy. Tunajikazanga tu na tuko sawa.
Yeah.
And for the cultural side, some mental disorders are viewed as either witchcraft or curses. Sometimes you'll hear that family is cursed with addiction, that family is cursed with, let's say, something like schizophrenia. When we know that these disorders tend to be genetic, there's different factors that contribute to whether someone gets a certain mental illness or even addiction. It can run in a family, and you hear people say that family is cursed or ni tabia tu wamefunzana. But you'll find in your family, if one person is addicted, the likelihood of a second person being addicted goes up.
Wow.
Either because of a
Predisposing.
there's the predisposition, and then
Yes.
there's also the environmental factors.
Right.
If I am someone who might have a more addictive personality and there's alcohol freely at home, ntajaribu. If a kid sees you smoke, they'll try, because you can't. Ni kama we used to be given an example in school.
Yes.
If your child sees you drinking juice straight from the packet, but like weka kwa cup, and then they do the same thing, then you tell them, vibaya, they'll say, basi nilikuwa nakufanya hivyo, because it's like, it can't be wrong.
And I saw you do
if
it.
I saw you do the same
Yes,
thing.
yes.
So those in combination can contribute to things like addiction. Certain diagnoses like schizophrenia or bipolar are also genetic. If an uncle or a parent has it, it is more likely that one of the children will also inherit that. So understanding how mental disorders or mental illnesses works is very important. And also destigmatizing, making people know that mental health is something everyone experiences.
So awareness is one way to destigmatize.
Yeah.
What other ways are there available for us to destigmatize? Maybe uko pale mtaani and people don't know, like don't have access to this information. How else can how else can we help destigmatize conversations around mental health?
I think it's just making the information more accessible.
Yeah.
Letting more people actually know what these mental illnesses are. Highlighting or spotlighting the stories of other people who've gone through mental illness, and letting people know if this person was able to go through this, and you can see mental illness is not something that is abnormal or that out there. You can be with someone who has a mental disorder and you wouldn't know, because if someone is managing their mental illness, or if they're getting help, it's actually pretty hard to tell. So it's letting everyone in the public know that mental health is something everyone experiences. Anyone can get a mental illness. It does not discriminate. There's no group A will get it, group B will not get it. It's something that it can happen to anyone. And understanding how all these things work is also something that can help destigmatize mental illness. Just the same way, if I say I have a flu or a headache or malaria, I won't experience stigma, because these illnesses, how you contract them, how they are spread. So it should be the same for mental illness.
Mm.
Yeah.
And speaking of mental illness, what are some of the types of mental disorders and mental illnesses that are known, and especially that are, if you could contextualize that to widespread ones in Kenya?
The most common ones are anxiety disorders, depression, and addiction, and then followed by disorders like bipolar disorder. So they're the most common. I think they're also the easiest to happen to anyone because anxiety is already something we all experience. So
Because what are the causes of anxiety, depression, bipolar?
it depends.
Yeah.
I'd say the science right now is not at a point where we can
Fully
isolate
establish.
one specific cause for each, but it's normally a combination of either genetic factors such as the chemicals in the brain, how they are balanced or imbalanced. It could also be your environment. So people who grow up in, let's say, an abusive home, or people who experience, we call them adverse childhood experiences. So these are things like poverty, abuse, chemical pollutants and such. Those can also contribute. Environmental factors are not just, when we think of the environment, we imagine pollution, what's happening around us, but it's also the behaviors you see happening around you.
Okay.
So sometimes being raised in a very, very strict environment could make you generally be a more anxious person because you're not as exposed to things.
Right.
So it's always a combination of your genetics
Yeah.
and
Experiences
your environment.
in life.
Yeah.
But again, it's not just all doom and gloom. Like you're saying that, yes, you can go through these things when growing up and stuff, but you can, through psychosocial intervention, you can be taken through a process of healing from that. Which leads me to the next question, trauma. I can tell you that I hear the word trauma more times than I hear, the word like M-Pesa, and you know how rampant M-Pesa is in Kenya. But sometimes I feel like, our generation tends to take things a little too far. Me, personally, I'm tired of hearing, oh my God, it's a trauma. Oh God, that thing traumatized me. So from where you see it, first of all, what is trauma? Let's define what trauma is, and then you can talk to us about trauma responses. And is trauma really, you being left by a bus one day and now all of a sudden everything, all hell has broken loose and you have lost all your ability and will to live? Let's talk about that. Let's start with defining what is trauma.
So trauma is it's like a stress response. So if you experience something stressful beyond what you're able to handle, then that becomes something that has traumatized you. So we tend to think of trauma as like the big events. So maybe physical or sexual abuse, violence, or things like that.
Yeah.
But you have to remember, I like to think of everyone as a rubber band. So everyone has different elasticity, different capacity for how much they can stretch. So if you have never experienced those things and you experience something that is it's like it overwhelms your emotions and your mind and it goes beyond what you're able to handle, that becomes trauma for you. But then something important you also have to remember is there are people who can go through traumatic events but not experience trauma.
Okay. Oh, all right. It's you should look at the camera and let the people know, because I think that's the big one. So you're saying that you can go through a traumatic, you can go through a bad experience but not necessarily suffer the trauma after that?
Yeah, trauma is it's less about the event that happened and more of how it affected you
and how you
personally.
internalized.
Yeah.
How you internalized it?
I think the way you internalize it sometimes,
Yeah.
it's not a conscious effort.
Okay, so it could be subconscious as well.
Yeah, it could be subconscious. We're not that aware or that in control of everything that's happening in our mind. So it's more of this specific event. How did it affect you? Was it too much for you to handle at the time? Did it overwhelm you? Has it stuck with you over the years? And then Now, do you experience flashbacks? Do you experience intense fear when you're around any trigger that reminds you of said traumatic event?
Yes.
Yeah. So it's
Ah.
just remember individual differences play a big role.
Yeah.
Because if you imagine something like a car accident, I'm sure you've seen people who have experienced a car accident, but then they just get up and
They move on like nothing has
it
happened.
seems like nothing has happened. But then there's that person who will experience a car accident.
Yeah.
And they will develop an intense fear of
Cars, they never
or
go.
an intense fear of overspeeding. If you go past a certain
speed
with
limit,
them, they will either start getting anxious or hyperventilating. So it's more about the individual differences and how each individual processes something. Think of an example. If I have never experienced war, then you can imagine it would be something slightly less than war that would traumatize me.
Right.
Because I've not grown up in a war-torn area. I may not have experienced violence.
Yeah.
So something other people may consider small would overwhelm me. But then someone who maybe grew up in a war-torn area, they may not be able to understand how like some experiences are traumatizing you because it may be different for them, but we know it because these two people are different.
Yes.
So they will process things differently.
Right.
Yeah.
And because I have had conversations about, people and how they process different trauma experiences. Some of them find that avoidance is the only way that they can at least cope. Is that a dangerous water to tread on? Avoidance, or you say you'd rather get help, deal with it, face whatever it is that you have to face, instead of just brushing everything under the rug and acting like nothing is wrong? And then does it always catch up? Like, can you is for the assumption from where I sit, but again, I do not know, I'm asking to understand. It can go on for so long until it does not work anymore, the avoidance. So yes, what would be your response to that?
I'd say when you're thinking of someone who has experienced trauma, as a stress response, the brain tends to not literally make decisions for you, but the things it does are in a bid to protect you from experiencing those things again. So you can think of it almost as you are the driver and your brain or mind is in the passenger seat. Then you keep exchanging. So when you experience trauma, the brain decides to occasionally take the driver's seat without you really being aware. You feel like you're driving, but umekuwa co-passenger in your own life, in a sense. So if the brain is choosing things to keep you safe, you'll find that person, when they avoid, that is how they feel safe.
Yeah.
It's almost like trying to step out of your comfort zone. It's scary.
It's uncomfortable.
It's very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So that person may feel like avoidance is the best thing they can do. But if they want to start healing, they would need to at least take that first step in approaching a counselor or a therapist. But not everyone is ready immediately to take that step. We always remind people, be empathetic, have grace. Everyone is on their own journey. This person may eventually choose to take that first step. They may never take that first step.
Yeah.
So we just try to understand everyone.
All right. And so, of course, in the journey of healing, I'm sure there are so many ways through which somebody can be helped. So what are some of the types of psychosocial interventions exist, and how do you arrive at, okay, for you, we'll need flooding. For you, we will need therapy. For you, we will take you to a psychiatrist. Yeah.
Okay. If you just want to talk, air things out, your best bet is to go to a therapist or a counselor. And then the counselor is able to tell if you need a psychiatrist. So we refer people to a psychiatrist if the therapy on its own is not effective. So you've had a couple of sessions and you can tell you're not progressing with the client. Or if you feel like this person may need either medication or a diagnosis together with therapy. for it to be more effective. So it depends on the
Alright.
severity.
All right.
Yeah.
So what are some of the types of, is it therapy or interventions? The kinds.
What types of therapy?
Yeah.
I think the most common one people would know is CBT, cognitive behavioral therapy.
Mhm.
So this is to help you understand how your thoughts
Mhm.
affect your emotions and behavior, how
Mm.
to restructure them.
Mm.
We also have psychoanalysis, which is mostly tracing someone's past experiences
Mhm.
and seeing how it has either affected them
Yeah.
or how do your past experiences affect you?
Yeah.
How have they led to certain coping mechanisms?
Right.
How have they
They have-
caused
Mhm.
yes
Mhm.
how have they caused maybe different traumas in your life,
Mm.
etc.
Mhm.
And we have a lot.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So the main one is CBT, the cognition?
it's a good one.
Yeah.
It's not the main one. It
Yeah.
normally depends.
Yeah.
Everyone has their preference or the one they're really good at.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but CBT is one I like.
Mhm.
Of course, it's not a one shoe fits all.
Yes.
You have to
Customize
look at your
it.
client
Yeah.
and see what is effective, what works for them, what do they like.
Mhm.
Because there are clients who prefer one thing over the other. So
Okay.
you choose what works best for the client.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow. All right, guys. This is the Power Morning Drive Show. We are continuing to delve in a very heavy discussion here about the state of mental health in Kenya. And we have talked about depression. We've talked about destigmatizing mental illnesses and disorders. We've also talked about the types of mental health, the types of psychosocial intervention. So when we come back, because we are going to go on a short musical break, we now get into the intricacies of is government or the policy environment. What does that look like? Are there policies that safeguard the mind of the citizenry? What does the law of Kenya say about access to mental health services? And if there are at all mental health services, how affordable are they? Are they affordable or even available or even accessible to everyone across the economic and social divide? Yeah. Sounds like something you want to learn about? Well, stick around. Remember, you can get in touch with us on our social media platforms. Ask us questions. Our expert is here and he's very well versed with these issues and he's going to answer all your questions. You can comment, let us know where you're tuning in from. That is at Power Radio across TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. You can also catch this live broadcast on our YouTube channel, that is at Power Radio, and also on our website www.power254.org/Power Radio. Let's get some music. We'll see you on the other side. This is Power Radio.
Power Radio. Tune in and power up.
Hawataweza kukupenda, hawataweza.
Fresh is on the beat.
Mbona do you have to be this way? Unajitoa from all the promises we made. You wanna blow up all the loving that we gave. Listening to he said and the she said. Uongo za mjini zimenoka. Niamini na kupenda ni wewe tu. Wakusema watasema usiku watalala. Hawataweza kukupenda vile ninavyokupenda. Amini hata dunia itashindwa na cha kusema. Na wakisema ni mapema kupenda tunavyopendana. Tutaishi kama Romeo na Julia kwa sinema. Baby achana na usiwasikize hao no.
under, oh, they wanna break us. Usiwasikize hao. Oh, baby, achana now. Cause when we say ni forever, ni vow tunaweka. Mimi na wewe tu. Let us go down in history. Niamini na kupenda ni wewe tu. Wakusema watasema, usiku watalala. Hawataweza kukupenda vile ninavyokupenda. Amini hata dunia itashindwa na cha kusema. Na wakisema ni mapema kupenda tunavyopendana. Tutaishi kama Romeo na Julia kwa sinema. Baby, achana na usiwasikize hao. Baby, achana nao. Usiwasikize hao. Baby, achana nao. City boy, wanna break your heart. City girl, they just wanna have fun. Love you, then leave you. Wakuache na maswali bila jibu. City boy, wanna break your heart. City girl, they just wanna have fun. Love you, then leave you. Wakuache na maswali bila jibu. Yeah. City boy, wanna break your heart. City girl, just wanna have fun. Love you, then leave you. Wakuache na maswali bila jibu. City boy, wanna break your heart. City girl, just wanna have fun. Love you, then leave you. Wakuache na maswali bila jibu.
Power Radio. Tune in and power up.
All right. Very good morning to you. Welcome to the not welcome. I mean, yeah, I guess welcome. if you're just joining us, this is Power Morning Drive Show on Power Radio. My name is Wanyoike, and May being Mental Health Awareness Month. In true Power Radio fashion, of course, we would not let that go by without tackling conversations that matter, because that's what we are about here. Yes, and we've been discussing about, mental health in Kenya by Mr. Ian Gitaka, who is in studio with us. He's a counseling psychologist, and he's been helping us tackle issues around mental health awareness, mental health services. And now we want to get into the policy issues. We want to get into what does the law first say about mental health? Are there policies in place to ensure that there's fostering of mental health in Kenya? So, Mr. Gitaka, you are the one who is well versed in this area. What are some of the policy documents that guide how mental health awareness or services or even the conversation on a national level is done?
So first we have the Mental Health Act, which I think was passed around 2022. We also have the Penal Code for suicide and the Mental Health Policy for 2015 to 2030.
Mm-hmm.
So the Mental Health Act was passed to it mentions all the rights you have as a client, but it also regulates how we as counselors, psychiatrists, psychologists, everyone working in the mental health field, how we are supposed to carry out our procedures, the work we do, and also how clients are supposed to be treated. So it's like it's now on paper and it can now be regulated. The kind of treatment you should receive at a facility, what determines if you get admitted, how long you should stay. That's what the Mental Health Act brought. And then the mental health policy is like it's supposed to guide how we in the mental health field and also government stakeholders, how we are all able to work together to be able to meet the goals and be able to push mental health practice further. So it's like a guideline
Yeah.
or like guidestones to follow.
Yeah.
But the Mental Health Act tells us now specifically how we are supposed to carry out our work.
As practitioners.
Yeah, and the
And
other thing
yeah.
it did was we got the board registered. So this board, the work is to regulate all people who work in mental health, including psychiatric nurses, clinical officers, anyone who handles a client for mental health. The board is now able to regulate all of us. Yeah.
What's the board's name?
Kenya Counselors and Psychologists Board.
Okay.
If I'm correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you feel that the Kenyan government is doing enough when it comes to mental health, either reform, either financing mental health services, financing mental health awareness? Yeah.
I would say we are getting there. I'll be honest. I've seen the work start, and I've seen the efforts being put in to make mental health more accessible, to get more people into the field, to improve jobs, or at least increase them. As we know, with the government, you have to give them time. We tend to wait a bit for things to start working, but when they start working, they just move. And I think right now we're a bit on the move because I've seen, like with the board coming in, us being regulated, being given certain rights, they are making that progress. So I feel like, of course, on one hand, I feel like they could do more, but on the other hand, I can see the efforts of what is actually happening. The biggest issue mostly would be funding and also how to just get more counselors and psychiatrists. We are not enough for
the whole
of people. For the whole country.
Almost 50 million people.
Yeah. So we need more people to join, more people to take up these courses.
Yeah.
For the people who are taking up the courses when they graduate, are they able to actually find work to do right after graduating? Because we'll say on one hand we are understaffed, but also a lot of counselors are not working right now.
Yeah.
So even just getting these people placed somewhere is also part of those efforts. So it's like a mixed bag.
Yeah.
We can do more, but also I'm seeing some of the efforts being put in. Yeah.
Oh, wow. And when it comes to how can I put this? Social media, it's a big one. First, let's talk about social media for a second, yeah? It has been accused of being amongst the issues, amongst the contributing factors, and to why we are seeing a lot of maybe depression rates, suicidal rates, and especially unregulated or this doom scrolling, as they are terming it. So from your practice, how can we ensure that safety online is optimized so that we navigate social media not as a doom tool, but as a like basically how do we navigate social media? Because yes, you can see that there are parallels between social media overusage and mental health issues around maybe depression, suicidal cases, and stuff like that.
I'd say social media, I feel like it does more harm than good, especially because social media, it's very, very accessible and younger people are more on social media. So it's something that requires a lot of effort on our part. So we'd have to, starting young, we'd have to train people how to navigate social media, how to sift through information, things like online safety, because we also have to remember children and teenagers, so anyone under the age of 18 is also more vulnerable online.
Yeah.
The exposure is also what can lead to things like depression, because you're seeing how other people are living, you're seeing the kind of things people post, and that might make you feel worse about your current situation.
Right.
So it's something that seems to be more harmful, at least how it's being used, but also for the older generation to avoid, especially things like doom scrolling. Sometimes they use social media to cope, either with boredom, stress, let me just go online, or maybe
As an
just as a
escape.
distraction.
Yeah.
We have to realize we can be more in control of our social media feeds. And at least when you're older, you can tailor your social media feed to bring you just the kind of content you want.
Like, yeah.
And I think we should be able to take more control over what our feeds look like. If you
Yeah.
feel like your feed puts you in a bad mood every time you scroll, or you always feel worse after using social media, either try and control how much social media you use, or use some of the tools online to just tailor your feed to only bring you content that you want to see.
Yeah.
And if none of that is viable, then it's always better to spend less time online. But I know for some people, they might spend a lot of time online because maybe they feel socializing with people in the real world is more difficult.
Right.
Or maybe I'm just lonely. I don't really have anyone else to talk to, so let me go online. For those people, this advice may not be as direct. It can be harder for them to do.
Yeah.
But they could always... Everyone has different interests. So try meeting people with similar interests as you.
Yeah.
Or try, even if it's social interaction or social events, maybe the smaller scale ones, so you don't feel too much social pressure. And if you just don't want to interact with people, you can spend more time outside, either in nature or take more walks. It's not... I don't think we'll ever reach a point where we'll say stop all social media use, because we never use drastic measures.
Yeah.
It's just more of
Regulating.
how do you regulate and control how much social media you use?
Yeah.
How do you reduce?
Yeah.
How do you tailor your feed?
And so you've talked about regulating social media usage. You've talked about taking walks. My next question was, how do we then would your advice be for somebody who wants to be on a mental stability and mental wellness journey? What are some of the best practices that we should do as a society?
So I can put this all in like self-care. So first, look at all the things that maybe put your mood down or make you feel worse, and try and reduce or avoid some of them. You can consider picking up activities like journaling. Journaling helps with stress. When you need to vent, maybe you want to vent, but hutaki kuongea na mtu, or you feel like this particular thing I want to vent about, I can't really talk to someone face to face.
Yeah.
So journaling helps.
Right.
Things like keeping active. There's a lot you can do. It just depends on what you prefer. Some people prefer gym, some people prefer yoga, some people just prefer taking walks.
Just know that some people is not me. Gym, where? When yoga, where?
Everyone gets to pick the one they prefer.
Yeah.
So taking walks, hata kuotajua, just being outside. It doesn't have to be something intense, as long as you're just moving and you feel calm. Having emotional check-ins with yourself.
Got it.
Keeping...
How does an emotional check-in with yourself look like?
The easiest one for me is anytime you feel nasikia sijui aje, ama kuna kitu tu inanisumbua inanirritate.
How Kenyan say nasikia sijui aje.
Yeah. Take a pause.
Yeah.
And just ask yourself, what is happening around me right now? How am I feeling? Which specific emotion am I feeling right now? And then, do I need to breathe? You can consider breathing exercises. Do I need to just take a walk? There's some people who, when wakikasirika lazima atoke atembe. And then when they come back, they feel more relaxed.
Yes.
Such activities to just help you either calm down or reconnect with yourself. Yeah.
And so for somebody, a Kenyan who is listening to this and they do not know how to access mental... First, you as Mental 360, you give therapy at a rate. Please share all the details. How can they access mental health services from your organization?
So for Mental 360, we have a helpline, 0710 360 360. It's easy to remember.
0710 360 360.
Yeah. If you call, text, or WhatsApp, there'll be someone there to listen to you and talk to you. If you want therapy, if you just want to talk to someone hapo na hapo and you go on with your day, we are available. We offer therapy from as low as 500.
Kenyan shillings.
So, yeah, someone is able to pay what they are some people able to pay 500, some people 15, some people 2K. Inalingana
It
tu na-
depends.
Yeah, what you're able to pay
Okay. This is per session.
per session.
And a session is how long?
A session is 1 hour long,
Okay.
depending. Can be slightly shorter, slightly longer, depending on what's being talked about.
Okay.
Couple sessions are 1 hour, 30 minutes. Yeah.
All right.
So 1.5 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And your social media handles, just in case somebody might want to get in touch there as well?
At Mental 360 or at Mental 360 Kenya on all socials. We are on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. Yes. Yeah, you can find us there.
Awesome. I want to give a shout out to Kamula Lisa. She's saying that she's enjoying the show. Thank you so much, Kamula Lisa, for tuning in. We would love to know where you're enjoying the show from. And have you told a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend to tell an enemy as well? Because they need to understand. Because, these enemies are the ones that are making some people go into therapy. I'm just saying. So thank you so much for tuning in. Now, as we wrap up the conversation, because we are almost wrapping up the conversation, we shall get into discussing then. So now, how do we create safe spaces for mental stability, mental wellness, mental health, mental prosperity? All the things. So this is something that we will discuss. We want to find out then, how is a mentally well society built? How do we ensure that we get to a point where we are saying that our people, men, women, and children, are mentally well? And how do we invest in ways that sustain a mentally well and a sustainable and a mentally prosperous society? Let's get into some music and we will come back and discuss about that. This is the Power Morning Drive Show on Power Radio.
Your kind of music, all day, all night, right here on your only station, Power Radio.
When you come to my city, ask who are running. Baby, come, you wanna meet the king and the queen. Phenomenal and Kaka Empire. We came here to school and to mentor ya. When we enter ya, we are running. Okay. Things don't run way.
Yo, handele, ebu ubakalesa. Mami tukutane ba esa. King na Fenani open bar. Au kujua pesa inaongea. Na tuko miti karura. Leo uta spread rumors. Tunazunguka kasa. Tao, West natives kasa. When in fine, fine by me. We run things don't run we. Niko na mzinga, ebu kuom na waroro. Washoni ule jamuaro zari za ogoro. Wasiwori nina place waneza doro. Pia na mapesa, waneza boro. When in fine, fine by we. We run things don't run we.
When you come to my city, ask who are running. Baby, come, you wanna meet the king and the queen. Phenomenal and Kaka Empire. We came here to school and to mentor ya. When we enter ya, we are running. Things don't run way.
Giza basi washa kitu waraso wameingia na fena kitu umasha kitu sahi naona giza afishi my friend tuishi Ibiza chelewa mzingaisha kalas uli expect na tuko na jalas king utembeanga na rende kaishiki rende togende when in fine by me we run things don't run we niko na mzinga ebu kuom na waroro washoni ule jamuaro zari za ogoro wasiwori nina place waneza doro pia na mapesa waneza boro when in fine by me we run things don't run we.
When you come to my city, ask who are running. Baby, come, you wanna meet the king and the queen. Phenomenal and Kaka Empire. We came here to school and to mentor ya. When we enter ya, we are running. Things don't run way.
heshimu malkia, kneel and bow down. Wengine wanajita king bila crown, wako down. King Kaka, they mad over you, vile una run town. Hua hua, hua hua.
Niko na mzinga, hebu kwa mna wadada.
Hua hua, hua hua.
Wasoni ule jamu wa Rosari za Okoro.
Hua hua, hua hua.
Yani King Kaka na Phenomena. Ini kubwa.
Power Radio. Tune in and power up.
Hua Hua, ranking by Phenomena na King Kaka. It's playing right here on Power Radio. This is the Power Morning Drive Show, and I'm your host, Anne Wanyoike. Now, again, I keep saying time really flies when you're having a good time, and we are almost wrapping up our show. Today, we've been talking about heavy things. We've been discussing mental health and the state of mental health in Kenya. And so, as we wrap up the show, Mr. Ian Gitaka, who has been helping us dissect some of the pertinent issues facing mental health issues in Kenya, decriminalizing suicide. That's quite an interesting one right there. That mental health practitioners are going to court and they want to decriminalize suicide. Please let the people know. Why should suicide, or as the kids are calling it nowadays, unaliving, why should suicide be decriminalized?
I think essentially criminalizing suicide is like punishing someone for going through mental health or mental illness
issues.
So we don't punish for any other illness apart from suicide. So decriminalizing will help these people access healthcare more. And also, since they're not being punished, it will at least destigmatize, and this person is more likely to speak out and seek the help as opposed to keeping quiet and fearing what are the legal consequences or let's just say the legal consequences of attempting suicide. So it's part of a push to destigmatize suicide, because we need to destigmatize it to help the people. And part of destigmatizing is even changing how we talk about suicide. So if attempting suicide is a criminal act, but we do not want it to be a criminal act, we are now saying people are dying by suicide. So you attempt or die by suicide, because even the language and how we speak about certain things can sort of help push that. It's like the same way Madhari Hospital used to be Madhare. Now Madhari iko na hiyo stigma ya. It carries that heavy stigma with it. So even just simply changing the name, maybe someone who doesn't know about it and hears Madhari atadhani, oh, is it different? It's just the same hospital, but changing the language sort of helps people see it a bit differently. And all this is just to help us destigmatize suicide so that we can actually reach out to more people and help more people.
Wow. And some of the initiatives and programs that you run at Mental 360 include Cradle.
Yes.
Let the people know what that is about.
So Cradle is part of Mental 360. At Mental 360, we believe in a holistic approach. So not everyone likes to just come and sit and talk in a therapy session. Some people want something more engaging or more interesting. So we do a lot of artistic things with Cradle. We are starting art therapy. We have expressive arts. We like to engage with a lot of different artists. And this is also gearing up to the Cradle Arts event, which will be happening on October 10th. And also, as you can see, I'm wearing a Cradle t-shirt.
Yeah, merch.
Yes, Cradle merchandise.
Yeah.
It's part of our initiative to raise money for the people who may not be able to afford therapy. So even though we offer therapy at a rate, kusema kweli, not everyone is even able to afford enough money for one session. So this sort of helps people in at-risk communities to access therapy. So one t-shirt helps someone access 2 sessions. And if anyone is interested in buying, reach out on our social media or our helpline 0710 360 360. inaweza deliveriwa ama unaweza pitia ofisi tukampick one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sawa. That's cradle. And of course, we as Power 254, we work a lot with artists. So we never know. This could be an opportunity for further partnership. I want to read some few comments from our listeners who thank you so much for listening in and for commenting. Yeah, thank you guys. I have Emma Kemonto. She's saying great insights there. Thank you so much. You can go and share those insights with the people around you. Then Took Diaries Show is saying, I guess parents play a major role in establishing their children's mental health. They should know how to create that bond with them to the point that a child is open to his or her parent. What are your thoughts about that?
I totally agree. When you're talking to someone, you find out a lot of it starts in the home. A lot of people and a lot of us can generally trace who we are and where we come from our homes. So once you're able to understand that, it becomes easier to understand yourself.
Yeah.
And if you can figure things out at the home, once I step outside into the world, I will just be better at dealing with things and handling things. Yeah.
Wow. So we've talked about everything and anything. So right now, as we wrap up the show, what would a mentally well, mentally stable, mentally prosperous Kenya society, world would look like?
I think first we'd have reduced occurrences of mental illnesses. Mental health care should be accessible and open to all. There should be no barriers, whether societal or economical. There should also be no discrimination. Anyone should be able to access mental health care. And we know mental illnesses, they still occur. We can't get rid of them. They are part of the human experience. But if everyone is able to access mental health care freely, affordable, without any barriers, and we as a society are also able to accommodate everyone who is going through something, I think at that point we can say we are mentally well, or we are as close as we can get. Yeah.
And you say that at Mental 360, your approach is holistic. What is that unique approach that you use to navigate psychosocial interventions for people that need your services?
It's through use of not only through talk therapy, but also art therapy. We are gearing up to start. So anyone who is interested can also reach out to us through our social media or through the helpline.
Again, read the helpline for someone.
0710 360 360.
Is it toll free?
The art therapy is free. Yes.
No. The call, is it toll free? The 0710.
It is not toll free, but you can flash ama you can text and then we will call you back.
Reverse call.
Yeah.
Reverse call.
Si lazima utumie airtime yako. Yeah. And it's accessible from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday to Friday.
Yeah. I have been seeing a movement of religious intervention when it comes to mental health intervention. So whether it's spiritual, like I know people who, for them, holistic looks like there's a spiritual aspect to this mental health intervention. Is it something that you have employed as Mental 360, and how effective is it, if at all you have seen it play out well? And if it's effective, why then don't we all embrace the spiritual aspect to mental health? Because me, I'm a believer, and my understanding is that all these things have a spiritual they have a spiritual origin to them. Yeah.
So in counseling, we take a neutral position, but then we understand different clients have different beliefs. So you wait for that client to either mention their religious beliefs or their religious background, and then you're able to know if religious interventions will be effective for this client, because it also depends on where the client is coming from. But I'd also say it is very effective, because even in Alcoholics Anonymous groups, you find they're encouraged to seek higher power, look for something higher to believe in to help them progress. And we also know someone who is religious and is being taken through counseling and the religious interventions is likely to get more benefit as long as we're not forsaking all the counseling that we already know. Then it's definitely okay, and it can also be very beneficial. But we normally just measure, will this be beneficial to this specific client, and balance it out. Yeah.
Wow. All right. So as we wrap up, what are your final remarks? What are your final thoughts? How do we foster mental health awareness and mental health generally in Kenya?
My final thoughts would be reach out to a friend. We should all be open to either talking to people or letting people talk to us. Let them share with you without judgment, without any shame, and without the fear that you may tell someone else what they're going through. So be a friend to a friend. We would like everyone to come for therapy or go for therapy, but we know it's not possible for everyone to. And it's also more effective if we're able to sort of spread these services even beyond therapy. So if you can be that friend to someone, for them to share, vent, just to talk about what they're going through, please be that person for your friend or the people you know.
Yeah.
And let's encourage people talking more and more about their mental health.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Mr. Gitaka, for coming on to the show today. We have learned so much, and it's a conversation that, of course, does not just end here. We can never oversaturate the airwaves with, conversations around mental health. So, and thank you for the amazing work that you're doing at Mental 360. Yes, our work as the media is to just but help elevate, no, amplify amplify the work that you're doing. So asante sana, and thank you for the privilege of your time.
Thank you as well, and thank you for having me.
Asante.
It's been a good time.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's the time that we had on the Power Morning Drive show. Thank you so much for everybody who tuned in. Thank you for everybody who will go. If you took a leaf or two from this conversation, enda uambie huyo mama mboga kwa hapo next na wewe, whether go and tell your family, your friends, let the people know something or two that you have gotten from this discussion. If you need mental health interventions and therapy, the number to call again is 0710 360 360. Get in touch with Mental 360 and you'll be able to be guided on how to go about it. But from me, Anne Wanyoike, and the whole team here at Power Radio, Flozi, my producer, you never get to see her, but soon, something is coming up soon. You're about to see her in her full glory, so you want to stick around for that as well. It's been a pleasure. It's always a pleasure to have conversations that matter. Again, it's Monday. I have to plug myself and my church. Please, if you have nothing to do, come with me to church Monday. Fitness in the Word at Nairobi Cinema from 5 p.m. Tutapatana pale hivyo leo jioni. Yeah, but for me and the entire crew at Power Radio, thank you so much for tuning in onto the Power Morning Drive show. At 11 a.m., the girls. Miss Mudhoni Gitao is going to be serving us a show hot for all women shows on the She Talk show. So you don't want to miss that out. But for me, for now, goodbye. And I'll see you on Wednesday. Same time, same place. Thank you and goodbye.
Power Radio. Tune in and power up.
Jealousy, always comparing myself to you. Sometimes I feel like I overdo. Sometimes I feel like I'm over you. Thinking and I feel like I have no clue. Singing me waga moods. Sometimes I act a fool. Singing nina choma sana. Sometimes tunakosana. Sometimes I act too cool. Singing you act a fool. Sometimes you drive me crazy. I swear I drive you crazy. Consistent, consistency, consistent, consistently, consistent, consistency, consistent, consistent, day, 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 day by day, day, day by day, 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 day by day, day, day by day, day, day by day, 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 day by day, day, day by day, 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 day by day. Consistent, consistently. Anxiety, naanza tabia za self sabotage, naanza tabia za overdrive, naanza kujifungia, naanza kujikazia, mwenzio nafunga hisia. Sometimes